Morning, all. All right, so starting things off with the preview portion of the program. There's one game tonight. It is Boston. It is Florida. It is game one. It is round two. Of course, these teams met in round one last season. Boston got up 3-1 and then lost three in a row. 4-3 series win for Florida, who went on to go to the Stanley Cup final. And again, Florida's met Boston twice in the playoffs in their history, and both times they've beaten Boston, and both times they've gone to the Stanley Cup final. So we'll see how things go tonight. On the Boston side, there's some centers that need to get going. They got past Toronto, yes, but definitely their faceoffs weren't that great, and they need to get better down the middle. Coyle and Zacha, both of them had 2 assists in the first round. They need a goal out of one of them, or both of them, preferably. Shattenkirk just had the 1 assist in the first round. We'll see if he puts up some points this time around. And Swayman, a .950 save percentage for him in round one. I don't expect a .950 in this series, but it would be nice to see Swayman put up, I'd say .925 would be nice. Anyways, Florida, not likely to happen against Florida, but Lundell, 4 assists for him in the first round. He's due for a goal. Luostarinen had 2 assists. He's been known to get a key goal here and there. And Aaron Ekblad, 2 assists for him in the first round. We'll see if he gets any points this time around. Bobrovsky, an .896 save percentage. And of course, with all of this rest, how well are Florida going to play tonight? I would expect them to be pretty good. Boston may try to jump on them in the first 10 minutes, but if this game goes to overtime or if it's a long game, that would definitely, I think, favor Florida because they've had the rest. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. Plus, they've got home ice advantage, so there's a few advantages baked in here for Florida. For Boston, it's about trying to weather that early part of the game and again trying to score first and then try to hold them off the score sheet, which is not easy. All right, moving into the news of the day, and the biggest news of the day is Rick Bowness announcing his retirement. There were hints during the season that this could be coming soon, and at the age of 69, makes sense for him to retire now. He's been behind an NHL bench for 40 seasons. And his retirement, he coached, and this is head coach, associate coach, various other coaching duties, 2,726 games behind an NHL bench. That is the most in NHL history for any coach. And he joined Bowman and Quinn as the only coaches to have coached in 5 different decades. So, all the best to Rick Bowness in retirement. It leaves Winnipeg without a coach. There are 7 coaching vacancies currently in the National Hockey League. Going to be some coaches getting hired between now and the draft. So, speaking of said draft, it's not the most awkward segue I've done. The draft lottery is tomorrow. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so I will set up a live stream for tomorrow. I'm thinking we probably start at around 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock my time, not 3 o'clock Eastern. That'd be insane. I don't do 3.5-hour pre-shows. Back in the day, I would do like long pre-shows. Don't do that anymore. But yeah, so 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll say 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll put the live stream up, and we'll see who wins the draft lottery and why it's going to be Chicago. But it should be entertaining, and there'll be at least 1 or 2 fan bases that are really happy and a bunch that aren't. So in other playoff news, Thatcher Demko could return this round. That being said, the way that it's being approached, clearly the team is aware he may not. So Demko could return during this round against Edmonton, but he will not start game 1. So game 1, I would think Shilovs is going to play, and then we'll see when Demko might be able to come back. I would think like maybe game 4, maybe game 5 at the earliest. But the way that they're being so cagey about this, maybe he's not coming back in the playoffs. And they're not going to come out and say it, because teams don't. This time of year, they're not going to tell you if a player's not coming back, if there's a strategic importance to not admitting that player's not coming back, which with your starting goaltender, I can totally understand that being important. So PWHL, yep. So I have the one PWHL jersey in Montreal. I got this from the tricolor, the Montreal Canadiens team store. And Montreal is the number 2 seed for these playoffs. They don't know who they're going to play yet, though, because Toronto, the number 1 seed, they get to pick their playoff opponent between Boston and Minnesota. So New York and Ottawa missed the playoffs this first year of the PWHL's existence, and the 4 teams are decided. But Toronto gets to pick who they want to play, either Minnesota or Boston, and then Montreal gets to play the other team. So my guess is I would say probably Boston, but Maybe there's just part of me thinking, PWHL seeing Toronto and Boston might be kind of fun. Just for like that tie-in with the NHL too. But anyways, we'll see who Toronto picks and what the plan is. I mean, just for the optics, it might be kind of fun if Toronto were to say go out, beat Boston, and then you can say, oh, well, they did what the Leafs did. Anyways, we'll see how that all turns out. But we'll know soon who they're playing and see how the PWHL playoffs go down. It has been a very successful season for the PWHL thus far. No reason to think the playoffs won't be the same story. So Toronto news, of course, today, media availability and a lot of stuff coming out. Interestingly, management won't be talking to the media, I guess, until Thursday. So be interesting to see how that all goes. Mitch Marner's eligible to sign an extension with the team on July the 1st. Says he wants to stay. He's going to take about a week and then start thinking about it. And they may possibly work on a contract, or we'll see what happens with Toronto this summer, because, of course, Marner could end up being the odd guy out. He could end up being somebody they end up trading. And I've already seen people saying, "Oh no, he's got a no movement clause." No movement clause just means that you go to him and say, "Look, we want to trade you," and then usually a player will waive a no movement clause if they know you want to move them, because it's not there so you won't ever get traded, just so that you have a say in when and where. And the no movement clause means they can't just send you to the minors as well. So we'll see what happens with Marner. I do think the core is going to get changed. The most obvious one would be Tavares. I just don't know who's going to take on that cap hit without Toronto having to throw in draft picks, futures, and that kind of stuff that I don't think Toronto wants to throw in right now. I think it'd be crazy to throw in futures just to get rid of the Tavares deal. But yeah, at least with Marner, you can get assets back and trade him to a team that will sign him to an extension. I would welcome Marner on any team I root for, but that's me personally. Austin Matthews has also come out and said what we all knew. We all knew that this wasn't just illness or food poisoning. That he was injured on what he deemed to be a weird hit in Game 4. And so that caused him to leave that game, and he wasn't able to come back until Game 7. It's sort of like, watching this series between Dallas and Vegas, it was pretty clear that Mark Stone was not 100%. He was feeling it. At one point last night, you could see his back was just killing him. At least it looked like it was his back from the way he was wincing, the way he was moving around. It really looked like it was his back. So this time of year, players are playing through injury on every team. And I think there are very few players right now that are playing in these playoffs that could say, oh, yeah, I'm 100% completely, totally healthy. So we'll see what news comes out of, say, like Vegas today, for instance. We may hear more about players who are playing injured. But that's just standard in the NHL's playoffs. And Matthews trying to play through that injury in Game 7. And we'll see, again, what happens with Toronto from here. I do kind of need to do a video on that. I've been trying to figure out exactly how to do it, but once I figure it out, I'll make it. It'll get uploaded for all you fine people on the internet. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I figured, you know what, I might as well pick Montreal as the team I'd root for in the PWHL, because sure, why not? It's the one jersey I was able to find without paying way more than what I wanted to. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe. A lot of people have over the last 24 hours. It is greatly appreciated. I also wanted to say, too, I've seen a lot of people saying that my reviews for games in the series involving Dallas, Vancouver, Boston is a lot more emotion, all that, because I'm more emotionally invested in those series. Which means that in round 2, yeah, I'm emotionally invested in 3 of the 4 series. I don't even try to separate the fan from the hockey guy when I'm doing reviews for playoff games involving teams I root for, because it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. I've tried. It just doesn't work. So anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.